And we are live. NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition is on the air. Hello, friends. It's your buddy Lou Pickney with you here. Pull down the slate, and as you can see, time's up for checking in for today's BluMint tournament. Today's tournament brought to you by Warsaken and by Supra Oracles. Many thanks to their sponsorship to make this possible. So, give it a second to populate the bracket. Got to get it pulled up my screen over here. Looks like I've got a first round matchup against Antikilla. So no first round bye for me, but only 4 players today got first round byes. So this will begin at the top of the hour. So it's Z against Flaxy, Voldemort against Arcia, G-Daddy 3315 against Vano, and then Tech against Ronald Koeman, which is interesting. And then on the right side of the top part of the bracket where I am, Zeldrazar against Pennybags Jr., who had a very nice showing in the last tournament, should be noted. Rabbit Larry against David ERS. Then the match I have against Antikilla. The winner of our match gets the winner of Reebnik and Natha CGA. So, possibility of facing Natha in the second round if both Natha and I were to advance. On the bottom half of the bracket, you got those first round byes. So it's Reyna against Rexinator. Rexy gets a first round bye. And then Hun Alex 76 against the Joker. In the midst of a live broadcast, I think I'm checking several things at once, so jumping here we go. Hello. CMC Ski 123, hello. So it's going to be interesting today with this tournament. Last Monday, I was made all the way to the final of the tournament, and it was nearly a 5-hour broadcast. But then the most recent broadcast I had went up against Devil and V, who I had a very tough fight against last Monday. And then it was a little bit of revenge for Devil and V, able to beat me in a very tight 3-round battle. So you see the tournament tree there. I love the way that BluMint handles this, the tournaments, the setup. It's great visually. It's something you can use as a browser element within OBS Studio. You've got the logos for everybody, you got the icons, so you have some sense of identity. I had my photo in there at one point, but I thought from a branding standpoint, the big LOU, the big white letters with a purple background kind of stands out. So I went with that approach here. Particularly with BluMint having tournaments for a number of different games beyond just Warsaken, but Warsaken Blitz is the game today. And so top of the hour, we'll be facing off against Antikilla. And the way that works with the communication, they do a great job at BluMint within their Discord of setting up. And there's a lot you have to handle at once with these tournaments. And they do a great job of getting everybody connected. And you've got a 5-minute window to get your match started. The way you check in with that 55 minutes span there between 1 hour out and 5 minutes till top of the hour gives you a pretty good grouping of people that are significantly less likely to no-show than if it's just people that signed up and there was no sort of check. So it means more actual matches, and it's ultimately a positive for everybody. Looking in the BluMint Discord, I see that Natha CGA's in there, so hello to Natha. Hello, Rabbit Larry, Moonbaz, Marty, Soul the Cat. Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, everyone. Greetings and welcome. So we're now very close to top of the hour, and so it'll be a matter of, they've already had it pop up on me here. Let's see. Yep, they've already got the first round room set up. Guerrero was there. Hello, Guerrero. Guerrero from BluMint. And so there's a 5-minute window to connect with your opponent. So we should get things going here shortly against Antikilla, provided that my opponent is, in fact, here and ready to go. And I'll explain how it works with Warsaken Blitz as it goes along. It's fairly straightforward. I've got something new I'm going to be trying out today with on-screen indicators of the various categories, because that's so important for Warsaken Blitz and understanding the game. I'm going to put it where normally I have the queue for the Thursday player versus player matches with NashvilleLou Live. But here with Tournament Edition, there's no queue today. Just tournament matches. We should have a lot of fun with this. And I'll go as long as I'm in the tournament, so maybe an hour, maybe several hours. So excited to get that going here in just a moment. Hello, Rexy. Hello. Bonjour. So now I'm going to dip back in for a moment into BluMint. Still more than 3 minutes to get connected here with my first round opponent. And it's not like if it hits 5 minutes, 00 right past the hours, like boom, you know, we're gonna. I mean, the idea is to get people there in a timely manner. So it's ultimately up to the moderator, the official representing BluMint as far as any sort of discrepancy goes, which really helps. In the event where an opponent may disappear or something, or there's some sort of an issue, it helps. It makes communication easy, something you do quickly. It's a win-win as far as the setup goes. I really like it, and I really appreciate BluMint for holding these tournaments. It's great content for the live stream. People have really it seems to have resonated well with people, and I appreciate all the support from the Warsaken community. I can't stress enough good things about the people that I've met through the Warsaken community over on Discord and outside of Discord as well. So still waiting to hear from my first round opponent. In the event that I don't have a first round opponent, if it ends up being somebody that doesn't show up, then I would get an auto advance to the second round. So we'll handle it either way. Some players, as I noted from the outset, got first round buys, and that's luck of the draw. I had several tournaments in a row for both Warsaken and for blockchain brawlers where I seemed to catch the breaks as far as the first round buys went, and not as much the last few, which is fine. That's how it should be. If I'm catching those breaks every time, that's a sign that something might be amiss. So, okay, still waiting to hear from my opponent, but still within the window. Another 90 seconds to hit 5 past the hour. Unlike my broadcast with blockchain brawlers, where there's a 90-second delay, I don't have any sort of a delay for Warsaken Blitz. And I may be putting myself at a disadvantage with this. The problem, though, if I were to use a delay, you would need such a long delay that you'd be better off just taping it and editing it for later. And that takes some of the fun out of it. Part of what I love with BluMint is not only can you see that tournament bracket, but also they do a great job of including feeds from a number of different people streaming the tournament. And so it's a lot of fun. It's great exposure for the games. It's great exposure for the streamers. BluMint has made a good impression on me every time. Even when there have been problems, like with the last Blockchain Brawlers tournament, and there was a microtransaction issue, and Antikilla is here. All right, hello. Ready if you have a code. So Antikilla is here within the time, and we'll get things going here in just a moment. Actually, I will bounce back over to the tournament tree real quick. And we'll bring it back here. Okay. So there you see the categories. Now, I know that does cover up where it says play Warsaken Blitz beta, but it should work. Let's see if I can get a code here, and if I get that, then we'll get it going. Thank you. Thank you. Good luck. Have fun. All right, so I'm going to type in that code. And I usually ask my opponent to provide the code because most people's setup is a little bit different where it's copy-paste, and I don't have that set up here because I use a separate computer. All right. Remember to have my keyboard in the proper place. I'll have to move that real quick. You've got 2 keyboards and 2 televisions. It's a good thing. It lets you have a lot of latitude. Warsaken. All right. So I'm taking on Antikilla. It's 2 out of 3 here in this first round matchup. Warsaken Blitz NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. Okay, only 1 building card, which I like. Too many building cards early can cause problems, but nothing that makes a match. So to use a mulligan. Mulligan gives you a fresh 8 cards out of your arsenal, your deck of 60. Okay, this works better. 2 sets of 2, although it's intel, only 1 force card, but I'm not going to take that second mulligan. A huge risk for that, so. And that's how this match will begin, with my opponent going first. To my knowledge, this is the first time I faced off with Antikilla. And there's 2-of-a-kind weather out of the gate. The reason I've got those categories listed there, you can tell on the cards the various insignias that match up. So you've got quite a lot out there with that 5 actions there. 2 sets of 2 with the weather, and then a standalone force. My turn, 5. Well now, lucky draw for me out of the gate with your WMD. You can only play 1 per match. But a WMD allows you to take out 2 of your opponent's territories. And you only have 4 territories in Warsaken Blitz.
Select target.
The various WMDs all do the same thing, just like the territories, except for the morale. That's an exception, but I doubt we'll run into any morale today. Most of the competitive players will have the lower morale decks to the point where you'd be better off just having force cards instead of morale. At least in my opinion. Okay, so the WMD takes out 2 territories. 2 actions to go for my turn. And I'll play a pair of tsunamis, weather cards. You get 3-of-a-kind weather, you can get an extra turn, which gives you an extra roll the die. A roll of 3 for my opponent. This is the opening round of today's BluMint tournament for Warsaken, 3-of-a-kind, with the intel milling my arsenal, sending 6 cards from my deck to my discard pile. 1. Okay, I'll play a subversion tactic. That's an intel card. 3-of-a-kind intel allows you to either attack 3 cards in your opponent's war zone, or you can mill 6 cards from your opponent's arsenal and send it to their discard pile, like what happened to me. Just the 1 action there, a second force card for my opponent. My turn. 2. Okay. 2 spots open in my war zone. I'll go ahead and play that second subversion tactic. 1 action to go for the turn. I do have a 2-of-a-kind here. This will be another intel to throw out there, but I will do that. And that will end my turn. My opponent rolls a 6. Three-of-a-kind weather, so there'll be an extra turn for my opponent after this turn, which still has 5 actions left to go. 2-of-a-kind force. A force lets you take out 1 of your opponent's territories. A force also lets you take out a compromised leader, which is how you win a match of Warsaken Blitz. Oh, it's a roll of 6 for that extra turn. My goodness. Now, my opponent's got 4 wide, 2 of a kind, but no problem making room there. 3 of a kind force. That force will take out one of my territories. So my opponent has 2 territories remaining. I have 3. Taking on Antikill in the first round of today's BluMint tournament. 3 of a kind force will both have 2 territories remaining. 4 actions still to go for this turn for my opponent. Pair of weather cards with 2 actions still to go for the turn. Tissues, hello. It's Warsaken. Haha. Hello. All right, it's my turn. 4. Okay, I can play 3 of a kind weather and get the extra turn. So that'll be an extra roll to die here in a moment. 1 action still to go for this turn. I'll play that second critical or pulled critical part, the intel card. So I'll have 2 of a kind, 3 deep in my war zone. Extra turn. 1. But it is an intel. And that'll give me 3 of a kind, and I'll be able to take out 3 cards from my opponent's war zone. Let's bounce.
Select target.
Take out weather cards. It's a lot more difficult for your opponent to get that cascade going. You saw what happened in the last turn, just with the 1 weather.
Select target.
Remember, you need 3 of a kind to implement an action or implement a trio into
Select target.
to activate it. Like, you need 3 of a kind force to play. I didn't really explain that well. It's getting distracted by the Kraken. So I took out 1 each of the weathers. Also took out 1 of the 2 of a kind forces for my opponent. Roll a 2. This is match number 1. It's best 2 out of 3 here in this BluMint tournament for Warsaken Blitz. Forgotten Warriors 1 tournament, 3 of a kind. So with that force, I'm down to just 1 territory remaining with 1 action to go for the turn for my opponent. And then it's a pullback. My turn. 6. It's a pullback of 1 of those weather cards. Okay, well, I can play some more intel if I want to, but that was perhaps some good timing there for my opponent with that. I could force a discard, which isn't unreasonable. I might actually do that. Although you've already got 2 that are out there that are played, so a few different choices. It's tough because nothing else makes 3 of a kind, and if I don't make the play here, I'm going to have some issues. So I'm going to force the discard. My opponent has not played a WMD, and while I'm down to 1 territory, a WMD still could be a very viable play, so I'm going to force the discard. 5 actions still to go, but that opened up some room in my war zone. Remember, you only have 4 slots in your war zone. Play 2 of a kind rabid beasts. 2 slots open in my war zone, 3 actions to go for the turn. I'll play a pair of building cards, the laser air defense station. 1 action to go for my turn. I really want to keep that 4th spot in my war zone open, so I'm not going to play anything else for that last action. I'll forego it and end the turn. Song attribution, NashvilleLou.com/music has that information. Thanks to Carl Casey at Whitebad Audio, who made a lot of the background music that I end up using for my live streams. Some great stuff. Not so great for me is the roll of 6 by my opponent. If my opponent can get 2 sets of 3 of a kind forces, that will be the match. Well, we're halfway there. 3 of a kind force. I'm going to have a compromised leader. So 3 actions to go here. Building cards. Building cards let you go back to your discard pile and bring back 3. Remember that I sent some there earlier when I played that intel. You could see, yep, there's the big pullback there. And that's it for my opponent's turn. My turn. 1. Well, interesting here. So remember I had my deck milled earlier. So I wouldn't go back for a WMD. So I wouldn't care about that. If I went back, it'd be for intel. So But at this point, I've got to go back for something. So it doesn't make sense to just keep waiting. I might not have another turn. I've already got a compromised leader. Actually, I think the better play is going 3 of a kind weather. So all my opponent needs here is 3 of a kind force to beat me. It's a roll of 2. My opponent can pair up with those 2 force cards out there, or that 1 force card out there, that standalone Kraken. There's 2 more Krakens up there. That'll be it, and I'll lose this first match here in round 1 of the tournament. It's best 2 out of 3. Tournament's underway, Quadrell. Hello. So we'll get another turn here. Tourney is underway. Go ahead and roll. 2. So not a good spot for me here. There's the link in chat to BluMint. Well, I'll play a pair of weather cards, but this is not a good spot for me. All my opponent needs is 3 of a kind force, and that'll be the match. It's a 6. That's probably going to be it. Got a compromised leader. That's 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'm down 1-0 here in this opening round. Good game. Anti-Killa leads 1-0. Okay. Anti-Killa has requested I send a code. I guess I pick my deck first and then it does that. Okay. I'm hesitant on putting the pulling back up to the load screen because it has my connect code. The last thing I need is to risk somebody as a prank or whatever trying to connect with me. That would be most inopportune. So once that connects, then we'll get there.
Warsaken.
All right. Well, it might be CMC Ski 1, 2, 3. It's me down 1-0. I try to normally stream for at least an hour, but tournaments are a little bit different. Let's see, 2 of a kind with the intel. Not a lot as far as force goes. I'm gonna use a mulligan here. And now I have nothing that matches, so that was the risk I took. I'm gonna use the second mulligan. I'll get to go first. There's that. Oh my goodness, look at all those building cards in the way. So that's unfortunate for me as far as stuff being in the way early, but not the end of the world. We'll play a pair of weather cards here. Blinding Sandstorms. 2 actions to go for the turn. Nothing else that matches. I can't play the barracks yet because that's part of the balance of this game. You can't play building cards until you have something in your discard pile, even just get them out there. So I'm going to forego those last 2 actions, then the turn. I'm not keen on throwing one-offs out there that I don't have a second of already. Sometimes that works out, but I've oftentimes see that end up being problematic. 2 of a kind weather, or excuse me, 2 of a kind force. It's got that handy categories list there on the side. Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou Live. 2 of a kind. I'll get a weather card here. Make 3 of a kind with the blinding sandstorm, and I'll get an extra turn. I hear you as far as the building cards not being in the way. I know you and I have different outlooks on that. We talked about it before. Now here's obviously what I can play them. So there are positives to it. As far as it's just if early on, if you're trying to play stuff, it can be. I've seen it be tricky, but maybe my way isn't the best. Well, in this case, okay. Now this is where I have to F5 the app because for whatever reason, from time to time, it won't let you click. So the easy solution is F5, it refreshes it. The die looks different. We switch the dealer out, sir. And here's the extra turn. 3. Okay. So I can go 3 of a kind on the soldier barracks, go back for the weather. And then as far as filling the empty slots, also problem though, if you throw it out there though, you do potentially make a target of it. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to it. So I'm going to bring back those weather cards, and that's all I have in there right now, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. 1 action to go for the turn. I'm not going to just throw it back out there. You're asking to get an intel card played against you, although I don't know for sure what my opponent has as far as that goes. So a lot of different things that could happen here. I will play weather, but I'll play a lasting blizzard. Got 2 of a kind for that. I'll play 1, and that'll end my turn. Well, that's a good point. As far as with those building cards and using that as a counter to the intel. 4 of a kind. All right, so I can play a 3 of a kind weather, and I'll get the extra turn. One action still to go for this turn. I'll play the second lasting blizzard. Extra turn. 5. Okay. 3 spots open in my war zone. A number of options here as far as what I can play. I already have the pair of weather cards out there. So we'll go 2 sets of 2 with force. We'll go Bella Ivanova. 3 actions to go for the turn. Play a pair of A9 hammerheads. 1 action to go. I'm without anything to make 3 of a kind. I'm going to forego that last action, leave that 4th spot in my war zone open, and I'll end my turn. That's true. I mean, I've also seen it's very interesting as far as different philosophies, and there's 3 of a kind forced. I'll take out one of my territories. Peeking on something there real quick. My turn. I'm down 1-0 in this opening round matchup. I rolled a 3. Tough one. Really tough. Nothing to make 3 of a kind. So I'm going to not use any of these 3 actions, and I'm going to end my turn. So 3 of a kind intel to mill my arsenal, sending 6 cards from my deck to my discard pile. Now, it annoys me that I can't just pop it down easier. There was 3 of a kind. So 2 sets of 3 with the intel. Come on, let me drop this down. Come on. It irks me sometimes that it doesn't let me move as fast as I want to. There's 4. Now we got action going here. 3 of a kind with a WMD. A WMD is going to take out 2 of my opponent's territories. White phosphorus bomb.
Select target.
Make a note. Marklar _X is the name on Twitch. tonight we'll have a live stream talking about putting a deck together to play Warsaken Blitz. I know there are a lot of new people that have never seen Warsaken Blitz before that learn of this game through these tournaments. And so for new players, they're like, okay, I see how this works. I'm interested, but I don't know how you put it together. I just see a bunch of cards. Marklar, I think we'll have some interesting information tonight. One action to go for this turn, nothing to make 3 of a kind, so I'm not going to use it. I'll end the turn. I'm down to 15 cards in my arsenal, which is a concern. If that hits 0, at that point I'll have a compromised leader. And I'm down 1-0 here in this best 2 of 3 opening round matchup against Antikilla. So I'm staring down 3 sets of 2 of my opponent's war zone, but it is my turn. Hey, congratulations, Rabbit Larry. Victorious. So some intel choices here, 3 of a kind. I'm going to take 1 off the top. I love doing this with intel. Going through when your opponent's got 3 sets of 2 of a kind, or 4, but I mean really the 3 is what matters because you're taking 1 off the top of each. It's the haircut time. Time detonation. It looks like a force card, but it's intel. Always look at that insignia to figure that out. Yeah, congrats, Rabbit Larry. I'll pull that up in a second here. But first, let's bounce. 1 of each.
Select target. Select target.
So I'm down 1-0 in this opening round 2 of 3 matchup. So I've got to win 2 in a row if I want to advance. That's it for my turn. My opponent rolls a 3. And again, I'm down to 12 cards in my arsenal. That's not a minor thing. That hit 0. It's like having all of my territories gone. So. Trying to reply to the... I'll just type congrats as opposed to replying to it. Okay, so it's my turn. Big roll the die here. 4. Okay, and play a hammerhead. I'll make 3 of a kind. I'll take out a 3rd territory for my opponent.
Select target.
I only have 8 cards left in my arsenal, so that's very much a concern. I've got 3 of a kind weather over here. Got building cards. I've got the 1 weather as a standalone, actually, so let's see what we can do with this. Okay. Play the weather here. If I wanted to, I could take 3 actions, but I want that extra turn. 2 actions still to go for this turn. I'll play the first 2 of the weather cards. All right, extra turn number 1. 5. I'll have a second extra turn here in a moment, and I may be able to get the win. Actually, let's think about this for a second. Got 2 of a kind out there. I need 3 of a kind force to take out that last territory. Another 3 of a kind force to take out a compromised leader. I won't need to worry about the weathers at this point. Bella Ivanova.
Select target.
So I'm going to win this match right here. We're going to be tied up at 1.
Compromised.
4 actions to go. Got a compromised leader for my opponent. I've got 3 of a kind force with Roman's prototype for the win.
Select target. Leader eliminated. Victory.
All right, so I've requested a code from Antikilla, and we'll hopefully here get things going with the 3rd match in our best of 3. All right, so real quick, let's take a peek. Actually, I'll bring the slate up for a second so I can refresh it. Thank you, agreed. Yeah, that Roman's prototype is an awesome card. I'm a big fan of it. Okay, so I'm bringing back up the tournament tree. You can see it right there. So, see, there is some information as far as we already knew about Rabbit Larry advancing. Although I can't dawdle on this too long because I've got the code. Thank you. Good luck. So I've got the code from Antikilla. See the tournament tree right there? We're tied up at 1 here in this opening round, best of 3. Of course, I have to actually type the code in. That is the other part of it. All right. Of course, making sure I use a proper keyboard, that helps. Okay. And when it's time to dig deep, go to the green deck. Night Vision Sienna, let's go.
Warsaken.
This is NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. Match 3 of 3 in our opening round matchup here between myself and Antakilla. Okay, nothing makes 2 of a kind, so I'll use a mulligan. 2 building cards. But again, nothing to make 2 of a kind. I've got to use the second mulligan. I don't like doing it, but I will. And my opponent gets to go first, plus gets an extra card. I have the pair of building cards there, so that at least makes a pair, but... but not exactly a great draw there. So roll 3 here for my opponent. This is match 3 of 3 in this opening round battle between myself and Antakilla. I'm your host, Lou Pickney, playing against NashvilleLou here in this tournament. 2 of a kind weather cards for my opponent, with 1 action still to go for this turn. So Quadrell, you say you used to be a big fan of Romans. What changed? 3. Much like the all camo deck I had, I could still put back together if I wanted to. Sometimes having a lot of the same color gives you false hope of matches. So I've got nothing that makes even 2 of a kind. Typically, if I do play anything in this particular scenario, I'll play a weather card. But I'm just going to play the 1 weather card. I don't like throwing out those one-offs. And again, I know there are different philosophies on that, but that tends to be what I go with on that. So that's going to be my turn. So my opponent rolls a 4. Okay, that sounds good, Quadrell. Thank you. I figured there was a story behind it. You talk about in the past tense. So that's... to check my DMs here after this broadcast, which could end after just this first round for me, or to go all the way to the finals if I'm able to make a rally. I was down 1-0, tied it up at 1-1. 3 of a kind intel to mill my arsenal, so that intel attack, 5. Or if your arsenal hits 0, you get a compromised leader. Now I can play the 3 of a kind building cards and go back for weather. Or actually, I say go back for weather, but this is a little bit different because there's no 3 of a kind in here. Okay. So I can get a second EMP out of this. I could get... and this is going to take a second. You have to be patient with me here. I can get something that matches for a couple of weathers and the EMP. There's some force cards in there. Got the beast. So anyway, plenty of choices here. So it's returning 3 to your hand, but technically these were never in my hand. They were milled from my arsenal, but same difference. You get the idea. So okay, let's get closer to that WMD. And then we'll go weather and weather. And actually, I will play the second freezing rainstorm. 1 action still to go for the turn. And I'll play a 00 Black Blade. And that will end my turn. It will do. Quadrell with that story. I can put a link in here for Marklar. We'll have a stream later today talking about putting a deck together to play Blitz. Again, I know a lot of people that are new to Warsaken that are watching this thanks to BluMint hosting this tournament. 3 of a kind force. It's going to take out another one of my territories. Just like that, I'm down to 2 territories. And there's the link to BluMint if you want to see the very latest of the tournament tree. 3. All right, 3 of a kind weather, so I'll get an extra turn out of it. There's the extra turn. Here's the roll. 1. Well, I can play that second black blade. I'll give me 2 sets of 2 out there, and that will end my turn. It's a roll of 1 for my opponent. Antikilla won match number 1. I won match number 2, and this is the deciding match number 3 to figure out who's going to advance to the second round. 2 sets of 2 opposite me there. All right, thank you. Cammy Reaper 147, thank you for the follow. I've got the new breaking news banner up there for notifications. Many thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Roll to 5. So I can play that third black blade. That'll take out one of my opponent's territories. No, not the blueprints. The black blade. That one.
Select target.
So 3 of a kind force. I'll take out first territory. So my opponent's down to 3 territories. I only have 2 left, and that WMD is staring me down. So that's rather disconcerting, but I can't do anything about it at the moment as far as that. I don't have 3 of a kind with any sort of intel. Not yet, anyway. So, 3 spots open by War Zone, 4 actions to go for the turn, play a pair of Terrifying Storms, weather cards, 2 sets of 2 with the weather out there, 2 actions to go for the turn, we'll go with a 2 of a kind force, Reza Navid, air defense. Or is it Reza? Some of the names I'm not sure. And that's it for the turn. Again, thank you for the follow. Cammy Reaper 147, I appreciate it. 2 of a kind weather for my opponent. So 3 sets of 2 opposite me. And just like what I've got, it's 2 sets of 2 with weather. 2 of a kind force. 4 wide, 2 deep. My opponent's War Zone with 1 action to go that'll be not used, and that'll end the turn. 6. Okay. Play the 3 of a kind weather first and foremost. Let's get the extra turn. They pronounce it like that, Reza? Yeah, I was looking at, because I think, remember the PlayStation game Rez, R-E-Z, and I was thinking of that, like, okay, that seems like it'd be, but with names you never know for sure. I've learned that in years of sports broadcasting. Never presume. But when it's a fictional character, it's a little different, but I want to get it right. Okay, so, as I was saying, that third Reza Navid, it's a force card, 3 of a kind force, and again, the categories really matter with Blitz because they all have the same function. Force lets you take out an opponent's territory. So I've got 4 actions to go for the turn. I can go 3 of a kind intel. Now, I also have to be aware I've got 23 cards in my arsenal. So I could go intel. Okay, let's look what I've got in here. Actually, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm not even thinking clearly right now. I'm thinking about building cards. It's intel. This is actually much better than I sold it originally. When you can bounce something like a WMD that's 2 deep.
Select target.
And let's take out those weathers. Makes it tougher to cascade if the weathers aren't there.
Select target.
Okay. 1 action to go for the turn. And I'll play a Kensho force card. Extra turn. 1. Okay. Well, while I have intel that might be tempting for the next turn, I'm not going to put that out there split squad style. We'll play a second Kensho, and that's it for my turn. This is match number 3 of 3 in the opening round of today's BluMint tournament for Warsaken Blitz. A fun new card strategy game. Can't wait for the upcoming second set. Cards will be coming out soon. So just the 1 action there for my opponent with that second weather. Thank goodness you see why I targeted those weathers. No extra turn for my opponent, at least on that turn. 5. Okay. I think I gotta go Intel. I won't play all 4, but 3 of them. Let's bounce.
Select target.
Weather.
Select target.
One of the A4 Revenge Super Carriers. Love that card, but not when it's opposite me.
Select target.
Let's get that pesky second WMD out of there. Hey, G-Daddy. Hey, I'm doing the announcing at least for my broadcast. Say hello. This is match number 3 of 3 in the opening round. There's the link. I just posted in chat to BluMint, which is providing coverage of today's event. So I'll play that. Well, actually, no. Actually, yes. I'll go ahead and do it. Or will I? Decisions. Let's give myself another turn to maybe get a third WMD. I've got 2 sets of 2. It's risky to wait, but... you can see what's in my discard pile there. My opponent rolled a 6. Hope the wave emoji there for chat. 5 actions still to go for my opponent. So we got 2 of a kind with the force, and now 2 of a kind with the weather. Another 2 of a kind weather. 2 actions to go for the turn. A pullback, 1 action to go here for my opponent. The winner of this match advances to the second round. The loser's out. My turn. 3. Okay, I can do 3 of a kind WMD. Or, let's not be, okay, no need to rush in. Let's think about this. First things first. Let's play that weather card first. Get the extra turn. Or, you know what? Let me think about this for a second. If I play this right, can I... I've got 2 weathers out there already. This may be that rare time we're using the 3 actions as opposed to the... I think I'm going to win it right here, if I'm not mistaken. The WMD is going to have my opponent with a compromised leader. I only need to play a force. I've got 2 of a kind out there at this point. So the very rare 3 actions and not the +1 turn. And this is going to allow me to advance in the tournament if I'm correct in my supposition here. You got to get the order right, though. Play that WMD first. Don't play that Ken show yet.
Select target.
So against a very tough opponent who led me 1 game to none, it looks like I'm going to win the third deciding match here. 2 actions to go for the turn. Lucky me, I've got that third leader compromise. 3 of a kind force will win it for me.
Select target.
Man, I got lucky there.
Leader eliminated.
Yes, good luck. All right, so I advance in the tournament. Wow. Good game. Who wins 2-1? Okay. So good game. Antikilla, a very capable opponent. I was just very fortunate with the timing there at the end. Getting that third WMD, you see why I waited. In that case, it worked out for me. It doesn't always work out, but there it did. So, since we just went final, I won't be reflected up there yet as far as the standings go. Just to be on the safe side, I'll go ahead and refresh. I'll bring the slate up for a second. We reset here. I'll be advancing to the second round of the tournament today in Warsaken Blitz. This tournament being hosted by BluMint, BluMint.com. I posted a link in chat, and I'll post it again here in a moment. So here's a look at it. So Griebnick was victorious over Natha CGA. Nath and I played a bunch. We play a lot of those Thursday. Remember, Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 20:00 UTC. For Warsaken Blitz, the live player versus player matches. So I've advanced to the second round. All right. Now I was like, oh, catching my breath for a moment. Thank you. Thank you, Tissues. Thank you, CMC Ski 123. Thank you. It was an exciting first round. I keep peeking into the BluMint Discord because they do a good job once they advance in the tournament. It sets you up to talk with your opponent. And it's great because you allow that conversation can happen with the administrator there to make sure everything's okay in case there are any connection issues or any problems. All right, so for the moment, we wait. I'll be taking on Griebnick. It's 2 out of 3 matches in the second round. The winner of our match will get the winner of Rabbit Larry and Pennybags Jr. If I'm not mistaken, Pennybags Jr., I think, won the last tournament, or at least made it very far. So that's something to be aware of, but first things first, I have to worry about Griebnick. On the other side of the top of the bracket, Z and Arshia be facing off, or are facing off now. G-Daddy advanced to take on Ronald Koeman. Ronald Koeman has performed well in these tournaments. I was victorious over Ronald in the tournament a week ago Monday, the one where I made the final. And I considered it a major achievement because Ronald's a good player. So Ronald and G-Daddy in the second round. Bottom half of the bracket, the Joker is already on to the quarterfinals. Both the Joker and Hun Alex 76 had first round buys. The Joker advances 2-0. The Joker awaits the winner of Reyna and Rexinator. Okay, so yeah, Pennybags won the rest. Thank you for confirming. Thank you. Okay, so that's the tournament tree. Then once they advance, maybe they'll go ahead and have to keep peeking in from time to time in the Discord to make sure that it hasn't shown up yet, because I want to be cognizant from a timing standpoint. Inevitably, when you've got opponents, even though they're on the other side of the bracket, but you've got opponents at first round buys, things, and suddenly there's not much time for taking a break, because you don't want people to be having to sit around and wait indefinitely. So I'll be taking on Griebnick here in just a moment to start things off with the first match for me of round number 2. And again, the winner of my match with Griebnick will face the winner. Actually, I have to reload this, so give me a second, please. Of course, I have to face the winner of Pennybags Jr. and Rabbit Larry. And whoever comes out between myself and the other 3 in that one, we'll get whoever comes out between Z, Arshia, G-Daddy, and Ronald Koeman. And here we have it. Moonbaz Marty, thank you for the raid. Thank you. Hello, greetings and welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Moonbaz Marty, thank you for the raid. So I'm on to the second round here of the tournament. I had a really tough fight against Antikilla, really good player who beat me in the first round, or the first match of the first round, and then I won the second and third to advance. Yeah, so congrats. So you won and advanced there, Moonbaz Marty. Oh, so this is a show. Again, I have a few things pulled up here, so I'm going to be swinging back around to peeking at a larger view of the bracket. So does it have a... So it shows you as losing to Dr. Mist, but that's incorrect, you're saying. Okay. Well, I'm sure they can get that fixed, or hopefully they can. I'm interested in hearing how this match goes for you, Moonbaz Marty, against Forest Slayer, who I've seen in several tournament listings here on BluMint for both Warsaken and also over in Blockchain Brawlers. But I don't believe we faced off yet in either game. But I know Moonbaz Marty, you're a tough player, and if we face off, it wouldn't be until the finals. So good luck to you. Good luck in round 2! Exclamation point. So again, now I'll peek back in to see, not yet as far as the BluMint. I mean, this is a big tournament, so I'm not impatient. I just don't want to overlook something, have other people waiting for a response, and I'm not aware of it. It's a different kind of awareness. Dave Ivor, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you. So I'll bring the slate back up for a moment. I'll refresh the tournament tree to make sure it's still providing the most up-to-date information. I know what you're saying there, Moonbaz Marty, that it shows you as being out, but or that's an errant listing. So, but again, the coordinators and the people at BluMint have been wonderful. They've been absolutely wonderful with these tournaments. I greatly appreciate them for holding these tournaments. It's a huge win-win, really, for everybody involved. Okay, so I'll bring the slate back down. There's the tournament tree. Nothing yet updated as far as Moonbaz Marty with the revised information there. But we'll have that here in just a moment. Okay, good luck, telling Marty here. Marty's letting them know. And again, this is where it helps having communication, where there's a moderator, administrator, somebody representing BluMint. There's an issue I had in my last tournament where I had an opponent that disappeared. And my opponent had contacted me initially, wanting to, like, direct message. And I was adamant about us communicating in a room with the admin so they would know what's going on. That's the way you do it here. And there's a good reason for it. I don't think it was anything untoward, but it was just, I was like, that is why I do it that way. Make sure everybody knows there's not any, I mean, these tournaments are for fun. You know, there are prizes at the top, of course, and I greatly appreciate that, but ultimately it's great fun playing Warsaken Blitz. It's a tournament, so there's some stakes to it, so it means something, certainly. So again, where it shows Moonbaz Marty out, that's an errant note per Moonbaz Marty. I've advanced to the second round. It was a tough fight, a really tough fight against Antikilla. And they could have easily gone the other way, and that would have been it for my broadcast. So sometimes it just comes down to that last matchup and getting the right roll the die at the right time. I was very fortunate in my intel. I was able to bust up a lot of the weather cards, and that really, I think, threw off the game plan for my opponent. Just like I mean, that happens to me plenty of times running into a intel buzzsaw. And it didn't quite come down to it, but easily could have, as far as my arsenal getting milled. When your deck of 60 gets attacked by an opponent with an intel trio, sending 6 cards to your discard pile. All right. Okay. Good. Glad to hear it. So Moonbaz Marty says they're fixing it. And again, they're very good about that. Over at BluMint. It's BluMint.com. And you can pull up the bracket and check it out. Even when I'm in the middle of broadcasting a live match, they're very good at having that information provided. So there is an update as far as the bottom half of the bracket. Funny enough, it's showing in my browser, and then I pulled up in, I should say in the browser source, and actually pull up in the web browser, and it didn't have it updated here. But now it does. So Rexy has advanced. Rexinator, victorious over Reyna. I've faced off with Reyna before. Reyna's not an easy opponent, but Rexy's a good player too. So Rexy and the Joker are on to the quarterfinals in the bottom half. And while it says Moonbaz Marty out, Moonbaz Marty actually victorious per Moonbaz Marty to take on Force Slayer. And I'm interested in hearing how that one goes for Moonbaz. top half of the bracket, as noted. We'll be taking on Griebnick here in just a little bit. Winner of our 2 out of 3 will face the winner of Rabbit Larry and Pennybags Jr. So dipping back in, nothing yet as far as the second round matchup, but they'll get to that in a moment. There's a lot to have to maneuver through these tournaments. Now, actually, don't mind having a moment or two to take a sip of water. I love live streaming. It's years and years of sports broadcasting, and the ability to broadcast live from my home for free. I mean, I'm paying the internet and everything, the bills for that, but as far as like I'm not having to pay any sort of a premium to Twitch for them to broadcast this without any sort of advertising. Now, I've decided not to be an affiliate. Maybe at some point I will. I've gone into that before. I really don't want to complain about it. I'm thankful. This is me being grateful that this exists. Although I do fear that the day is coming when the gravy train will end and free broadcast, no advertisements. The money has to come from somewhere, even though when something's free, ultimately you are the commodity in many ways. Okay, so still waiting to hear from or see anything as far as the second round goes. I know my opponent. I know who I'll be taking on, but for the moment we wait. And so while it's not reflected up there on the tournament tree, I have advanced to the second round. I'll be taking on Griebnick. It's 2 out of 3 matches. And then whoever advances between myself and Griebnick, I'll be taking on the winner of Rabbit Larry and Pennybags Jr. Let's see. So Quadrell's saying, unless you don't do multi-streaming, no reason to not get affiliate. Well, here's the thing. If I go affiliate, then I have to start playing ads. And I've had a different approach with this. I've had remarkable user growth. I've been on Twitch for a long time, but for a long time I was just on just as a user who watched other people's streams. But say no, you don't have to with that. Okay. Well, let me give that a look, Quadrell, because I've had other people approach me about it, and I've been hesitant. And yet I greatly appreciate people that are supportive. So there's a number of, if there really is a way to do it without having to have ads, and ultimately the weekly Thursday 4 p.m. Eastern 2000 UTC show that I have with Warsaken Blitz, where I'm going to have hourly breaks built in anyway. And I have so many ideas for giveaways, so many ideas. I'm excited about possibilities with that. So waiting here for a moment for, all right. Yes. Thank you. Okay, interesting. So the only ads you have to have are the pre-rolls. Okay, we should talk then, Quadro. We need to talk anyway. I have that story to tell off stream. But also, because again, I've had other people that have reached out about that, and I try to be reasonable and listen, especially while I have a lot of broadcasting experience. Live streaming is a different animal. In many ways, it's the kind of live, legitimate feedback that you don't get in television. I mean, you've got to, with television, I had very large audiences, and while I wasn't the one on the set, I was the one telling people twice my age what to do. Like a dozen of them at once when things go wrong. So you better be on top of things with that. And so yet with all of that, and that doesn't faze me. I've stared down a lot with that. But in those situations, I always had like a broadcast engineer I worked with some great broadcast engineers. And now I'm my own broadcast engineer. So that's the other side of it. But that sounds good. Let me go ahead and type this in chat, but that sounds good. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to check back in. I'm afraid, here it is. That's why I keep checking back in. But, hello. Saying hello again to Guerrero. Now, it's been a little bit of a wait here for Griebnick, so maybe just a moment or two before we get back to that. This would be a good time for me to go ahead and, let's see. Well, helps if I find where I pasted the information. All right, so talking with Greebnick, and I'm ready if you have a code. Thank you. Good luck. So I've got the code from Greebnick. We'll get things going here in just a moment. No, I understand, Quadro. I appreciate. No, this is. I mean, I want to listen to people, and again, when multiple people are telling me something, there's usually a reason for it. I can be stubborn, but I'm also one who will listen when it makes sense. But I've got to find out more about this. I was under the impression I was going to have to play ads every hour. And for things like the tournament, like when I can set my own show up, that's one thing. But if the pre-roll is the only part that's required, then maybe I've just been missing out all this time. Okay, so I've got the code here from Greebnick, typing it in now. Double back to make sure we've got the live stream here, and we do. And here we go.
Warsaken.
Valuable info, thank you. But there, I'll mention this real quick because we're about to start this match. Marklar over on Twitch, here on Twitch, Marklar_X is the name. It's going to have a live stream tonight, US time, talking about putting together a Blitz deck. You've seen me play, and now you'll get to learn from Marklar, especially for new players. Now, there are so many new people who maybe play other games that are seeing these Warsaken tournaments, wondering what's going on. I'm going to keep this. I'm sitting here yakking. My opponent goes first. Got two of a kind with the weather. I mean, it's not the absolute best starting hand you'll start with, but I mean, it's such a risk. If you take a mulligan when you've got a halfway decent hand, I got very lucky. I used 2 mulligans in my last 2 matches against my first round opponents. I got distracted there from the... Was that a morale card? Oh, wow, okay. This changes everything. Let's see. That's why I go with these low morale damage territories. Okay. That was distracting. Cloud cover. Interesting. Thank you. All right, congratulations to Rabbit Larry, victorious over Pennybags Jr. Say to Rabbit Larry, congrats. All right. So it's my turn. This is match number 1. I'm going to have to F5 the app because it's not letting me click on the die. It just changes the way the die looks. It's like a dealer switch at the poker table. Actually, when I refreshed the browser or the app in my first round matchup, that actually was when my fortunes took a turn for the better, which was just a pure happenstance, but it worked out pretty well. So I'll play the second cloud cover. 3 spots open in my war zone, 2 actions to go for the turn. This is where not having anything 2 of a kind to put out there. It's like, except for the building cards, but I can't play those yet. And I'm actually not going to play a 3rd card here, or 4th for that matter. I'm going to forego those last 2 actions and end the turn. This is NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. I'm your host, Lou Pickney. This is match number 1, round 2, taking on Greebnick. Rabbit Larry has been kind enough to join us here on the live stream. Rabbit Larry, victorious over Pennybags Jr., will face the winner between myself and Greebnick. Wait, I've got 2 actions still to go. I'm yakking away. Okay. Sorry, Greebnick. But you see up there, that top left, that blue dot? I know I've got my icon there at the bottom blocked because that's really the only place to fit my NashvilleLou logo in my photo there. Well, 3 of a kind weather means an extra turn. 5 actions to go here. And that was morale. My goodness, it's a morale deck from Greebnick. Old play. I'm down to 7, so, well, man, oh man. There's a 4. Luckily, I've got, my territories are all -3, -3. as far as like a WMD would take out 2 of them if Griebnick has a WMD. I don't know that for a fact. You never know for sure. So 3 sets of 2. 1 action to go for the turn. Griebnick. It's 2 of a kind morale. A second 2 of a kind morale. If both of those were to get 3 of a kind, I would have a compromised leader with morale down to 0. That would be wild, but it is possible. And there's a reason I included morale on that category list, even though I didn't think I was going to run across it here. So I rolled a 5. That's the good news. The bad news is that nothing makes 3 of a kind. But play a pair of violent tornadoes. 2 spots in my war zone that are open. 3 actions to go for the turn. I'll play a pair of subversion tactics. Those are intel cards. 1 action to go. I'm going to leave that last spot in my war zone open. We'll go the final turn, or final action, and end the turn. You say I could put the building cards out there to no immediate use. Down to 1 morale. Uh-oh. So a 3 of a kind force would take out a territory. 3 of a kind morale would take me down to 0. I'm hanging on there at 1. 3. Wait a minute. Okay, I feel silly. See me all this time. I've been able to play building cards. They're dark, though. But you can play... Okay, I feel very... Wow. I feel very foolish not knowing that. So I can put... But now if I play 3 of a kind, I don't know what happens then. Because I don't have anything about... Like, if I really played 3 of a kind, I don't know... Like... Will it actually let you do that? I mean, it wouldn't light up if it didn't. Okay. But what happens if I play 3 of a kind buildings here? Nothing's in my... I'm a bit perplexed. It's unusual for me to face a situation in tournament play where I discover something new about the game. I thought I had a pretty good handle on it, but you'll learn something new every day, right? Just don't play 3, because then it goes to my discard with no effect. Thank you. So, let's see, this is the problem, though, is that if I put that out there, and that next turn comes around, and I've got a 3rd time detonation, and I roll a 3, well, then that's a lot of hypotheticals, I realize. You know, I'm going to leave that 3rd spot open. I know we just discussed all that, but I don't think that's the right play here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm way off on that. I'm down to 1 morale. So if my opponent that's 6, this could be 3 of a kind morale, 3 of a kind force, and that would be the match. My opponent has 15 cards, 28 still. My opponent's arsenal. My opponent's going back. You know they're going back for morale cards. I mean, it's either that or weather, but you know what they're going for. Probably. It's 3 of a kind morale. Here we go. I'm going to have a compromised leader. Even though I have all my territories, and I still have 39 cards in my arsenal. Wow.
Leader compromised.
All right. 4. Okay, well, I'll play... Okay, at this point, I don't care about the morale in my opponent's war zone. But I can still bounce 3 relevant cards.
Select target.
All the weathers.
Select target.
Notice how it didn't ask me to confirm that, it just did it. So if you're hitting that green outlined side button there to do 2 at once for a bounce, don't expect it to, be sure that's your decision. It just does it. Okay. And again, morale, I'm already at 0. I already got the compromise leader. All my opponent needs is 3 of a kind force, and that's the match. Yeah, you're right. As far as morale, I love playing morale. I would play it a lot more if, okay. So I've got 3. All right, play resource silos. That's it for my turn. I've got a compromised leader. My morale's at 0. It's a roll of 2, so I've got at least another turn. My opponent can't get 3 of a kind force out there. Enjoy the morale cards. I think it's a great part of the game, but if your opponent doesn't have... I think there's a way you can modify Blitz to perhaps lean more towards that side of things with the morale. Okay. Rolled a 2. And I don't have anything to make 3 of a kind. Weather... Play these subversion tactics. That's it for my turn. So this is match number 1 in the second round of today's BluMint tournament for Warsaken Blitz, taking on Griebnick. Winner of our 2 out of 3 match battle will take on Rabbit Larry, who was victorious. Here's 3 of a kind. I believe that's the first time in a tournament match I've lost via morale. So good game, Griebnick, who now leads me 1 match to 0 here. Bring the slate up for a second so I can go ahead and refresh the tournament tree. At the same time, I'll go ahead and put in here, but good game. Griebnick leads 1-0. Thank you. Okay. And I will real quick here go ahead and show you the tournament tree. Okay. And now we're going to go back over here. I'll hit return. So Griebnick leads me 1-0 in this best 2 out of 3 match battle in the second round. The winner faces Rabbit Larry in the third round. All right, well, we're going to start playing games with morale. Let's go with the leader with 21 morale. And with the vast hinterland, it brings you back to 20. That's the maximum morale you can have to start a match of Warsaken Blitz.
Warsaken.
Thank you, Rabbit Larry. Likewise, good luck to you. There's a chance for you to get a little bit of a preview here of what you might face off against if you get Griebnick. And obviously, if I'm able to, I did it before, but I'll have to do it again if I want to advance as far as coming back from down 1-0 to win 2 matches in a row in advance. So the building cards, and again, I feel so foolish for not, I thought they were dark and it wouldn't let you click on them, and, well, maybe I should have just tried that. Nothing else that matches, but I'm going to keep it. So it's a roll of 6 for Griebnick. Note here in chat, Griebnick leads 1-0. Also post a link for Marklar for tonight. U.S. time tonight. Marklar is going to have a live stream on Twitch talking about putting together a Blitz deck. So 2 of a kind weather and a standalone weather for my opponent. And then a menacing looking intel card. What is that? I rolled a 1. Oh, that's Hacked Network. Oh, look at that. That is a cool looking version of Hacked Network. Anyway. Well, I guess if I'm glad I finally listened to the advice about playing buildings. You see why I was stubborn about it before, because I thought you couldn't play them until you had something in your discard pile. So that's why, so there's weather, so that means extra turn for my opponent. Already played 2 sets of 3 with the weather cards. 2 of a kind force for Griebnick, who leads me 1-0 here in the second round. It's best 2 out of 3, so I've got to win 2 in a row. Extra turn, it's a 6. Uh-oh. I liked it better quadro with the caps. Actually, like, emphatic. So 3 of a kind force takes me down to 3 territories. WMD's taking me down to 1. So Griebnick, who leads 1-0 in the second round, best of 3 battle with me, has me down to just 1 territory remaining. My turn. All right, well, I rolled a 6. So I'll be able to at least have a fighting chance to battle back into it. White Phosphorus Bomb WMD is going to take out 2 of my opponent's territories. If I click the right button. That one.
Select target.
You can play at most 1 WMD per match in Warsaken Blitz. Three actions to go for this turn for me. So I'm going to play that second Soldier Barracks card. 2 actions to go for the turn. I wouldn't want to play 3 of a kind Soldier Barracks right now. You wouldn't go back for a WMD because you'd be going back for cards that you can't play, since you can play at most 1 per match. Well, I'll play a pair of intel cards with Control the Message. And that's it for my turn. So I'm down 1-0 here in the second round against Griebnick. It's a best 2 out of 3 battle. So I would have to rally to beat Griebnick here and then win a third deciding match, but that's it for Griebnick there. My turn. 1. Okay, nothing to make 3 of a kind. Nothing that even makes 2 of a kind. So I'm going to forego that lone action and end my turn. It's a roll of 2. Post here in chat the link to BluMint, BLUMINT.com. BluMint has the tournament bracket. It's a 6. Wow. So nothing to make 3 of a kind. Play the weathers. Still have 1 territory remaining. 2 of a kind intel. I mean, I've already got 3. I still fill up that 4 spot in my war zone. I don't know. That has not gone well for me traditionally. I could put 2 of a kind out there with the hammerheads. I could put it out there with a blizzard. A lot of could. A lot of might. Although at this point, I might need to take a chance like that. Actually, I think I will. Talk myself into it. With the weather cards. Well, nothing else I can do here for this turn. Let's end turn. So I've already played a WMD, so I've got to have 2 sets of 3 with the force cards just to compromise my opponent's lead. There's a 6. So it might not matter. If Griebnick can get 2 sets of 3 force cards, that's going to be the match. I'll be out of the tournament, and Griebnick will be on to the third round to take on Rabbit Larry. Building cards. 3 of a kind building cards. And they're not going back for WMD. It's either weather or force. As you can see, it's the force. It's going to take out my final territory with a 3 of a kind force. Got a compromised leader. See, I told you so. All right, my turn. I'm up against it. Let's see. It's a 1. And I didn't have anything to make 3 of a kind anyway, so that's going to end my turn. I am really up against it here. 2 sets of 2 with force cards. All my opponent needs is 3 of a kind force to beat me. End turn. It's a 2. Will this be it? Yes, it will. 3 of a kind force. Good game, Griebnick. Congratulations. So Griebnick victorious over me. So that's 2 straight falls. Griebnick beats me 2-0 here in the second round. Griebnick advances to the third round to face off against Rabbit Larry. All right. So it was a hard fight in the first round against Antikilla just to make it to the second round. It's not easy in these Warsaken Blitz tournaments. It's tough competition. So let's take another look here at the tournament tree. Actually, I'll bring the slate up for a second. We'll refresh the tournament tree. While I do that, let me say, yes, good game. Griebnick wins 2-0. All right, so Griebnick, we're taking on Rabbit Larry. I'm going to get the tournament tree pulled back up here. I'm not going to stay for, I won't cover the entire tournament since there's no way to do live look-ins. Not everybody streams. Obviously, that's a personal choice. Someday, I want to have an all-streamers tournament. I have so many ideas for that, but what BluMint does is great, and I like just playing and live streaming and talking to a bunch of other people that love this game as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the tournament tree. It doesn't have it refreshed yet to show. I'll refresh it, but it's not quite yet updated to reveal that I'm out. But I lost there to Griebnick in the second round, so that's where my tournament run will end today. Yeah, so see. I'm going to have to go back and watch that first match against Griebnick later with the morale, because I was a bit distracted. That's one thing with these broadcasts. It's a tournament, and the tournament has to be given the utmost importance, but it's also a live stream. It's also a chance to talk with people and discuss some of the things that are great about this game and things that I enjoy about it. So again, I'm going to plug one more time. Marklar is going to have a stream tonight talking about putting together a deck for Blitz. Maybe you've watched some of these streams. You've heard me explain how the game works. You have an idea of it, but you don't know what to do as far as putting a deck together, what you need to get. This should be very helpful as far as getting everybody up to speed on that. And again, there's been so much support from the Warsaken community for live streaming. Very much has been encouraged to do that in the most positive of ways. And so, Quadrell, I'll talk with you. We'll touch base on DM or whatever at some point here, maybe later today. We can chat a bit, because maybe I've had a misconception. I've just been missing out for years when it comes to being an affiliate on Twitch, but I'll worry more about that here in just a little while. So I'm out in round 2. Griebnick victorious over me. And so it'd be Griebnick taking on Rabbit Larry in the quarterfinals. All right, so I'll pull up the proper browser to check the listings here. Let's see. So it appears right now I'm the one person that's, or the only person listed at least, as streaming. At least as far as Warsaken. Plenty of people are streaming right now. All right. Okay, that sounds good. All right. So I want to double check everything here before I wrap this up. And this is going to be where my tournament coverage here concludes for today. So on this browser that you can't see, I'm going to double check it on my end here to see. Because sometimes what you see on screen and what I see in front of me is not the same thing, because I have to have several different things open at once. So let's see, I can tell you at least with the quarterfinals, Arshia is taking on G-Daddy 33-15. So G-Daddy was victorious over Ronald Koeman. Ronald's a good opponent. And so is G-Daddy for that matter. So congrats to G-Daddy on to face Arshia. Winner of that faces the winner of Griebnick against Rabbit Larry. And then the bottom half of the bracket, Rexinator against the Joker. And then between the matches of Four Slayer and it says Dr. Mist still on here, so I don't know what's going on with that for Moonbaz Marty. And then Delvis against I'm not even sure how to pronounce that one. Ken. There in that last part of the bracket. All right, so telling Guerrero thank you and have a good day. I appreciate the staff from BluMint. They do a great job. It's a lot to have to handle in a short amount of time. Communicating with people who may or may not be there at the keyboard at the moment. You're trying to get everything lined up and get the tournament running in a reasonable amount of time. And BluMint does a great job with it. Las Vegas Ape. I was looking at that and I was trying to... It's okay. Because Las Vegas Ape does a lot of stuff that I like. So I think we're going to do that. I want to be sure that Harvey Dent wasn't online. But Harvey's not streaming now. So we'll go over to Las Vegas Ape here in just a moment. I'll do the SIG out real quick. So which is where I say goodbye for the live stream VOD version. And the version that eventually end up on YouTube. And then we'll do a raid over to Las Vegas Ape here after that. So again, before I start winding up to say goodbye and doing the SIG out, I don't want to do that. Oh wait, there's more. But I think we have our bases covered with that. I think so. Of course, now I have to actually make sure I have the right. Don't want to raid into the wrong channel. That would be decidedly inconvenient. Okay. All right, so this is where my run of the tournament ends. I'm out in round 2. Griebnick victorious over me 2-0. Griebnick will take on Rabbit Larry. Probably going on right now if it's not underway. It will be soon in the 3rd round. And so as always, I appreciate Warsaken, Super Oracles for sponsoring this event, BluMint for hosting it. Wonderful job with that. Good luck to the remaining competitors in this. And so that's going to do it for this broadcast of NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. I'm your host, Lou Pickney. Thanks for watching. See you next time.